You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hello. Welcome to today's episode and happy holidays. If you're listening, it's that time of year when there's so much going on. There's family, there's visits, there's travel, there's gifts, there's giving, there's all the things. And I thought it would be kind of nice to just check back in with what I think this time of year is really all about, which is how you can just feel grateful for what you have in your life, and extend some of that to others. So I know that can sound kind of eye rolly, but it's true. I think that for me, the one of the best emotional states, most powerful, most positive, where I really feel like I'm in my power and who I am is when I can tap into that grateful state, because you just feel like you have everything that you need, or even if it's not everything you dream of, right? Like you feel like you have enough, you feel like you are experiencing your life, like you're savoring the moment, you're actually able to feel presence. I know for me, if I am not in a state of gratitude, it's one of the fastest ways for me to lose out and miss out on feeling creative, on getting ideas, on feeling inspired. And if I can get back to that state, it's like everything starts flowing again. It's just leading, I think, from one of the most centered places. And so it's really something that I try and get back to and cultivate more and more of in my life. And I know if anytime I'm feeling a little off, one of the first things I check is like, have I been really feeling gratitude? Have I been practicing gratitude? What can I feel thankful for now? And it's one of the quickest ways, I think, to get back to a really positive emotional state, no matter what's going on outside of you. And so I kind of have cultivated like some practices around this that I will just share with you today. I'm obviously not an expert on this or anything. I'm just someone who is learning things as they're living their life and trying to share some of what works for me. And so my hope is that this can really just help you feel like you can enjoy this season more, that you can tap into your own power source for energy and inspiration and joy anytime you choose, and you can really even feel like the full magnitude of your life. I think sometimes there's even a resistance to fully leaning into gratitude or joy because maybe we don't feel like we're worthy of it. Maybe we feel guilty. Maybe we've just never had something that, good before. And so it makes us feel unsafe. So these are all things that you can use if any of that feels like it's part of the equation, where you can really cultivate being able to hold more and more gratitude, more and more joy, more and more love, and get comfortable with that incrementally over time. And so it becomes just more of a way of life versus something that almost like spooks you or intimidates you when it comes. All right. And so here's just a few gratitude practices that I use that really help drop me back into it, even when there's a lot of chaos going on, even when, it's a busy time of year, or if something's hard, if it's a, more rough season. These are all things that I use to kind of just return to a grateful heart, and finding the good in whatever season there is. So holidays, there can be so much love and laughter and light, but it can also be really hard for people. And maybe you're missing someone, or maybe this time of year always reminds you of something, or there's just been loss. We're all going through a lot the past few years. And so just want to offer this as well as a way to feel better and to find that silver lining, wherever it is, and feel all the feels, all the emotions. But when you're ready, return to this, and I think it can really help bring you back to just feeling like who you are, and just noticing the good in our lives, as well. So, all right. So the first one that I like to do is to freeze frame a moment. So when I'm driving down a road, let's say there was a time a few summers ago where I was living off of this lake house. We were Airbnb a place, and so many of my dreams were coming to fruition that summer, with business, with just life. I won't get into like all the specifics and stuff because I want it to feel true for whatever yours is. But I just remember driving down the road and trying to like freeze frame this moment and be like, when I'm 90, I'm going to look back and like, will I have remembered what this feels like? And so for me, I try and just picture, like, what am I feeling in this moment? Almost like you're like stopping it in the cinema and you're looking around in this scene as if everyone just stopped moving and you're like, okay, I'm in this body that's 30 years old and the sun is shining and my husband is sitting next to me and the water's sparkling and this just happened today and this is happening tomorrow, whatever it is. But almost just if you freeze frame that moment, it really locks it in. It kind of stops your brain and your mental chatter, and it helps you just drop into the moment and appreciate all that's going on. Another time that I used this was when I was leaving New York, and I was so conflicted and so heartbroken about leaving that city because I loved it so much. But I, at the same time, wanted to be able to set up roots near my family. I didn't know if it was the right time to leave or not. I absolutely loved it, but I had a lot swirling. And so the last night that I was in the city, I went to Top of the Rock in Rockefeller, and you can go up to this top of this building and see so much of the city from this place. And it was around February, I believe, and it was so cold out. And I just remember kind of taking a walk on that little rooftop and almost just waiting for this moment, right? This feeling of clarity to come. And it didn't. But what happened instead is after a certain period of time, I just realized that that maybe wasn't going to come. I wasn't going to get this closure in the moment or this clear answers I'd hoped. But I just stopped and I looked out over this city and just paused and I remembered that moment. And I thought in that moment of when I first arrived and I had my suitcase in hand and I had to find an apartment that day. And I was so new and flustered. And I remembered learning the subway and the packed morning commutes in the summertime. And I remembered going out with my coworkers and getting pizza at the end of a fun night out. I remembered the sticky summers where you'd stand on the subway platform and already be sweating at 8 a.m. in the morning on your way to work. And in the afternoons when we'd go and get happy hours and we'd be out on this rooftop patio and the sun would just be so warm and humid and we'd have just the best days. Like I just remembered I really tried to just pause and look back on all those moments. And as I did, I looked out over the city, and all I could feel in that moment was thank you. Like, thank you, and remembering more of those moments. And then thank you again. Like, just pausing that moment, and I will always be so grateful and remember that moment because it was a time of just appreciation for all that had existed in my time in New York. And it was almost this synthesis of just wrapping it up with a thank you. It didn't have to be this mountaintop clarity or clear answer, but what my heart just said in that moment was gratitude. And so for me, that was the best closure I could have asked for with New York because when I think back to that time, and I always remember that moment because I was so intentional about pausing and taking it in and experiencing the moment. And so I can still to this day remember the coldness of that rooftop. I can remember the security guards kind of probably wondering what I'm even doing out in the cold, just standing and looking at the city. I can remember walking back through Times Square to my apartment for the last time. And so if you feel like there's a lot going on or you're just trying to grasp a little bit more gratitude, try that. Like when you're just driving down the road, just freeze frame the moment and look at what's going on in your life right now and give a moment of thanks for it. Maybe you're at the gym and you just are feel that freeze frame of wow, you're this age, you're the youngest you'll ever be again the rest of your life, and look at your body, look at what it's doing right now, like look how strong that you feel or how strong you're getting. Maybe you're playing with your kids or maybe it's chaotic and there's so much going on at your house, and if you can just freeze frame for 10 seconds and just realize that they are at this age for this one moment in time. They may not have everything perfect in their lives, but they know that you love them. There's just so much about, I think, pausing. And the thing I love about this is it doesn't have to take any time at all. It's not like you're sitting down and building a list or a gratitude journal, which is also great, but you're really just pausing in the moment, and it can be as simple as a few seconds. And I guarantee you, you will remember that moment 10 years from now, 20, 30, 40, because you locked it in so deeply. So that's one of my favorite ways to practice gratitude is to just drop into that whenever I think of it. Or you can set an alarm on your phone if that helps you, and just cultivate doing that once a week, once a day, whenever it comes to you, and it can change everything. And I'm so thankful for all the moments that I've done that, because I really do look back and remember that moment in time, and I know in that moment in time I also felt so good feeling that gratitude. Another thing that really helps me is feeling intensely the gratitude. So I used to make those lists where I'd list off 5 things really fast that I was grateful for and kind of check the box for the day. But what I realized is I wasn't really feeling gratitude. Sure, I was thinking of things and I was noticing other things to be thankful for, and that really helped me. But my practice of gratitude really, really changed when I started actually taking a moment to feel into how amazing those things that I just listed were. So let's say that I would write down my health as something that I'm grateful for. It's like, okay, great. We're grateful to be healthy. Yes, yes, yes. But if you can feel that, if I can think to myself, I am so grateful for this body where I don't feel pain, where I can go on walks for an hour, where I can go to the gym, where I can use my muscles, where I can be strong, for this body that sees, for this body that feels so comfortable and healthy and vibrant and energetic. Like that is such a different feeling of gratitude, right? All of a sudden, I start really feeling what that feels like. And that takes me to an even better feeling place. I can write down, like, I'm thankful for my husband, and it's nice. Of course I am. But if I can really think about like how lucky I feel, like really I'm so thankful for him, how amazing it is to have someone that I can talk to for hours every night still, almost a decade into our relationship. Where I have someone who's supportive and who's loyal and who's generous and kind and smart and creative. If I can have someone that feels like such a partner to me, how amazing that I went on all those dates in my 20s and it was never quite right, and then this relationship was there all along, like I didn't even see it coming. And so if that, to me, I'm starting to already feel so much better, like in my body. You can probably hear me smiling as I talk. And so really practice that. Like if you're you're like, yes, I'm grateful for all these things, but how do I actually feel grateful? That's how, like, take a second to actually feel how amazing it is to have that thing in your life. Whatever you put down on your list that you're grateful for, really lean into the feeling of it, whether it's your work, whether it's where you are in your career, whether it's how proud of yourself you are for taking chances or for starting something new in your life, or for saying no to something else, or sticking up for yourself here, or being bold enough to try. Like whatever you can really lean into. I think that for me forever changed my gratitude practice, because it just turned it up. It like put it on turbo boost, where all of a sudden it was so much more than just the like, thanks, 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 check the box. It was like, wow, that is amazing. And I really now do feel grateful for that thing. And you just feel even better than you feel even when you feel gratitude, which is already an amazing feeling. And then another thing that I heard from Jay Shetty in a recent podcast, I believe it was on the Goop podcast, but he had mentioned that he turns gratitude into an action. So, he'll think of something that he's grateful for, but then he'll go and follow it up with that thank you to whoever helped him with that. So if he's thankful for an opportunity that he got for a speaking gig, he'll go message that person and he'll say, I just want to let you know I was thinking of you. I'm so, so grateful for this. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. If he thinks of his wife making a nice dinner or something, or a moment he enjoyed with her, that's his gratitude practice for the day, where he sends her a text or goes and gives her a hug and says, by the way, like, I was thinking about this. I'm so thankful for you doing that, or I really appreciated this. And he just has this practice of it's meant to be shared. And that creates so many ripple effects of good feelings in your relationships. It creates probably more opportunities because then people are thinking of you the next time because you've taken a second to acknowledge what they've done for you and to lock that into their own experience. And it, just makes people want to give more and more to you. And so therefore you're receiving more to be thankful for in a very genuine, authentic, like positive way, right? Where you're just simply sharing your thanks with them. So I loved that idea. And there's, I think, no right or wrong way to do this. You can journal on it. You can just do stream of consciousness for 5 minutes, writing about things you're thankful for. I think the amazing thing that I've learned with gratitude is that once you think of a few things, it becomes much easier to beget others. So if you can just breathe for those few moments into your heart or start to think of something, even if you're in a hard season, right? And you're just thankful that the sun came up another day, or you're thankful that you have a bed to sleep in, you're thankful that you can go buy yourself a warm coffee, you're thankful that you have a good meal. See what I mean? Like all those things started to create other ideas of things to be thankful for. And I don't have a list in front of me. I wasn't writing that out prepared. It's just the nature of gratitude and getting into that feeling state that I think it begets more and more things to recognize and be thankful for. So those are a few ideas for you. It's such an amazing time of year. It's a busy time of year. Like I said, it can be good for some and hard on others. And I just sincerely send out my love to you for whatever type of season it is for you. I'm thankful for you being here, seeing people actually listen to this, and that it feels like it's a conversation more than just me recording something. And the fact that you would take time makes me feel so, so grateful from the truest place in my heart. And so I just want to thank you, wish you the happiest holidays, and I'll be back soon talking about the new year and all that we have to look forward to and create there. But otherwise, thank you again and hope you have a wonderful holiday season. We'll be back soon.
I recently created a free bonus for listeners that I'm super pumped about. It's a 7-day workbook to create your biggest, brightest life, full of exercises I use to bring my dreams to life, work through fears, and take inspired action. You can download it for free at bit.ly/podcast bonus, just as a thank you for listening. If you love this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you leave a review or share it with a friend. That helps so much with discoverability so others can find it too. Thank you so much for listening in. I'll talk to you next Thursday.